Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are building a studio style camera stand. I start by taking the material for the base of the stand. I mark my 30-degree angle on a random spot and measure how much material it will take for that cut. Then I can arrange the base material into 3 equal lengths. I'm using my speed square as a protractor to mark my degrees. I'm just doing this for you at home. My bandsaw is a dual swivel miter and I just set it at 30 degrees. I'm doing this to achieve 120 degrees outside angle. Here the pieces fit very nicely together. By doing it in this arrangement, I get more metal in a smaller tripod base. You'll see the other marks I have on the steel. If I were to make those small cuts and have 2, the pieces would fit together in a more traditional tripod. The way I did it with a single cut allowed me to save 3 more cuts, but get more material in a smaller space for more weight to hold it down. Here I take this wheel spacer to make a rough circle on my piece of scrap steel. Here the steel is cleaned up where I need to weld it together. Here I use the clamps from my last video. I used them repeatedly in this build. They were super handy, flipping them back and forth to being able to clamp or use on the fixture table. Now I put a light weld on here. I put a heavy weld on the bottom side. The reason I went with a lighter weld so I didn't have to grind and grind. Here I set some casters in place, a 1/2 inch in from the edge. Just a quick mark so I can take it over to the drill press and drill for tapping. I drill the holes in 2 steps. Here's the magnetic wand I made a while ago. It works fantastic around the shop. Here I'm using my speed taps, 5/16 by 18 threads per inch. Here's the base welded together with the casters on it. It's very mobile, moves very smoothly. This is that scrap piece of steel that I had. Get it ready, weld it on, I'll clamp it in place. Here I'll flip my clamps back again. and a few rough stitch welds, and the base is complete. Now my main concern is having enough weight on the bottom of this. So I'm adding gravel inside the steel for ballast. I was going to use concrete, but I had this pail of gravel from another project sitting in the shop. So rather than mix up some messy concrete, I just use this. Here I'm using some 1.5 inch by 3/4 rectangle tubing. It just happened to be a really good fit, and I already had it here. After welding, I'll give it a quick grind so there's no sharp edges. I went to the local Dollarama, picked up this cake pan. I wanted to have a tray for putting cables or phone chargers or whatever I needed to built into the stand. And this cost me $3. Take these two pieces of flat bar and I weld them on, and this will be the ledge that the cake pan sits on to be a tray. Another addition I wanted to add is the camera stand will have its own dedicated extension cord, so I might as well put an extension cord hook and hang it right on the stand. Then I'll never have to go looking for it. Here I give a quick test with the tray in place, see how it looks. Here I'm welding two pieces of pipe together. This is going to be my mechanism that holds the cross that I can make my adjustments with. The vise is a little too deep, so I just threw a piece of scrap steel underneath. Clamped it together to get it ready to weld. Quick rough squaring it up before I weld it. Here I'm putting into place some 3/8 bolts. This is just to hold the nut in place while I weld the nut. Now that the nuts are welded on the outside, I'll remove the bolts. I made sure not to tighten the bolt up too tight. That way it didn't distort when it got welded. Here I'm welding a little piece of round bar on the head of the 3/8 bolts for the T-handles so I can tighten and loosen and adjust the stand by hand. Here I'm tidying it up. I put a quick coat of Rust-Oleum and then a coat of rubberized rock guard. Here I'm doing the final assembly, adding the wheels. 2 of the casters have brakes, so I can lock the tripod in place. They're held in with a 5/16 by 3/4 button head screw. The last one goes on. Here I'm just using silicone to put the tray in place. I may change it later on, and it's pretty thin to be welding to, so I just glued it in place. It should not be holding any heavy weight. I'm also adding an outlet to plug chargers into, and I want to add a lighting bar eventually. A little bit of silicone and then zip tie it in place. It's more than sufficient. Here I just tidy up the silicone a little bit. It's holding the tray in place. Adding the cross to the post. Due to clearance, I am leaving the crossbar raw steel. There isn't really enough room for any paint on it. I also have a 6-foot length of this bar if I need to reach into car window or under a hood. Here's the stand completed. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. You'll see the magic arm mount that I use for the phone. Crossbar is 1 inch, and you can add 1 inch plate weights. Here's the adjuster. I added 2 fasteners on each direction to give it more stability. The outlet with USB plugs as well. Hook for the extension cord, and the stand is complete. Very happy with the stand. It should help me film better content. I was having a lot of trouble with the tripods. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you want to see many of the tools used in this video, check out my other videos.